Good afternoon, everyone. It's me, Jessica, your health fitness program manager from McLean, and I'm here to guide you through an awesome HIIT circuit today. We've got 8 moves that we're gonna do. Each one is different, so there's no repeating one side and then the other. We're gonna do the first circuit for 45 seconds. We're gonna do the second circuit for 1 minute. We're gonna do the last circuit for 30 seconds, so it feels like, oh, that was a breeze. But that means that when we get to our last 30-second circuit, I really want you to push yourself as hard as possible. Okay, I'm gonna bribe the bird. You bribe whoever you need to at your place so that you'll be able to have the next 45 minutes focused on some quality exercise. Make sure you have some water nearby. I'm gonna go refill my water bottle. Uncle Buck, what are you getting upset about? They are destroying the tennis court across from my apartment, so it's a little loud in here. Super busy day. It's obviously still working on the curtain situation here. Yep, but we're gonna do our best. Oopsie doodles. It's either darker than dark in here or lighter than light. Darker than dark. Okay, 2 minutes till we get started, y'all. Oopsies. Oh my gosh. All right, so gather around a variety of weights for yourself today. Sorry. Because I want you to make sure that you're as challenged as you can be. So I know that you're very likely to need a lighter weight for your tricep extension than you'll find that you need for your overhead press. Be ready to go as hard as you can with good form. Wait, those are not the same. Okay. As hard as you can with good form, because I'm here to challenge you today. You're here to challenge yourself. That's why you came, right? So make sure as we get into set 1, you're bringing it from the beginning, right, Fred? That's right. You're not waiting until set 3 when it's just 30 seconds to give it your all. You're giving it your all from the get-go. And that's the best that you can do. What time is it? Is it time? Watch, stop being late. Okay, it is. It is that time. In fact, you had an extra minute to join me. Thanks for coming. Let's go ahead and get started as usual with just some nice little lateral side-to-side step taps. Feel free to step out as wide as you want to for these little step taps, just starting to work those inner outer thighs just a little bit Warming up that upper body, go ahead, change the directions of those shoulder rolls for 4, 3, 2, 1. Stick with this lateral side to side step tap. We're gonna turn it into a hamstring curl, just alternating that curl, kicking your heel up to the glute, getting those arms involved as well, because getting your arms involved, it's gonna help you to bring that heart rate up a little bit more. Just warming up that body for 4 more on each side. 3, 2, 1. Step out nice and wide. We're just gonna alternate in a lunge from side to side. I have my hands up by my chest. A, provides a little modesty right here. And B, it helps me to keep that chest lifted. Keep the weight in your heels. We're gonna change this alternate side lunge just a little bit by staying low now. So coming through a squat in the center. Still pressing your heels on the outside of the feet into the floor for 4, 3, 2, 1. Just some little air squats. Down and up. Squeeze those glutes at the top. I've got my feet nice and wide right now, even wider than shoulder width distance, just warming up the body. 3, 2, let's go for an overhead reach and a tap. Getting that upper body involved a little bit more. 4 more. 4, 3, 2, a broad reach across. 8, 7, 6. Keep your belly pulled in. Keep that back engaged. 4, 3, 2, 1. Touch your opposite toe. You can take a bend to your knees if you want to. 4 more each side. 4, 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Stand it on up. Go ahead, draw one knee in. Release it down. Just some nice little standing knee pulls. 4 more. And then I'm going to go ahead and show you the workout. I want you to keep moving while I briefly run through what today's exercises are. So consider either marching it out to keep the intensity low, coming into a boxer shuffle if that feels good for you. And if you want to work even harder, you can jack it out. I'm going to go through these really quickly. All right, first up, we're going to do a drop row like we did the other day. So just to remind you what the drop row is, you're going to have a slight forward hinge. You're going to go row all the way up, hand close by your side, elbow stretch back and up, and then you drop the weight into the opposite hand. We're going to challenge you a little bit more by adding in a side lunge. So side lunge, drop, side lunge, drop. Now if you want to, you can stand all the way up between to make it a little bit easier. If you want to challenge yourself even more, you're going to stay nice and low, just like we did in that warm-up. That's move number 1. Move number 2 is a squat to an overhead press. Going to give you an option to make this a little bit more challenging too, depending on how your body feels today. So you're going to turn to the side so that you can see. You can have your hands either, let's have our hands low as we squat, keeping the weight in your heels, really shifting those hips back. We're going to stand up, go for an overhead press, and then you can either lower it down, be a little easier on yourself, or if you have weights that work for you, stretch up, and then a nice big lat pull down at the front. But I want you to make sure you're really controlling those weights on the way down and that you have a weight that works for you. If your weight is too heavy, if you find yourself arching that back a little bit too much, take out that pull down and just come back into your squat with an overhead press. Awesome. Move number 3, tricep extensions on knees. So we're just going to come on down to our knees to help with balance, still hinging at the hips, pulling our bellies in, just extending and bringing it back in. See if you can hold for a second while we're extended. The next move is going to be a plank with a crow step, right? All right, so we're going to be here in plank, and you're going to step. Plank means that your glutes are also in line with your shoulders or lower. So trying not to be in down dog, but if that's what you need to do, if you can't hang out in a regular plank and you want to apply a little more pressure into those hands palms, I'm not going to stop you. All right, so from plank, you're going to step one foot up at the time as if you're trying to get your knee into your elbow, and then you're just going to step it right back and come back into plank. If you need to, you can do the same thing. Right here on your hands palms, really work to keep your hands palms under your shoulders and still step that toe all the way up as if you were going to, you know, be balancing in that posture, which is crow, right? I don't know. My brain lately, y'all. Okay, after that, we have a weighted chest press. So we're gonna stay on the floor for the rest of the workout. Weighted chest press, and we're gonna start off our weighted chest press with just a toe tap. So as arms go down, legs go down, and then as arms go up, legs go up. You can make it a little bit more challenging by bringing those knees slightly away from the center line of your body, and then just lifting them back up into tabletop. I'll give you options to make that harder. Then we've got a chest fly in glute bridge, so make sure you have lots of space. We're gonna lift ourselves up, open up nice and wide. Didn't have enough space. Come back in. If you can stay lifted, you can take a little bend of those elbows if you need to, especially if your weights are a little bit too heavy, staying controlled. Then we have a Superman T. I'm gonna turn over in this direction. You're gonna extend your hands out to the side and give me a little thumbs up. Keeping those feet together, so really squeezing thighs together. We're just gonna lift up and pulse. Being in a T is gonna be the easiest variation of this move. And then our last move is going to be a lat pullover, straight leg sit up. So one more time with those lat pullovers. You can use 2 weights if you want to, or you can use 1. 1 is going to be a little bit easier. So arms are going to come all the way behind you, tap down to the floor. Use those abs to lift yourself up. So you are lowering down 1 vertebrae at a time, and you're doing a bit of a roll up. The weight can help you, but try not to throw the weight up overhead and truly follow it. All right, awesome. Grab yourself a quick sip of water. We gonna get started, y'all. Okay, who remembers what the first move is? I do, don't worry. So remember, round 1 is gonna be alternating 45 seconds of work, 15 seconds of rest. Round 2 is going to be a little bit longer. So this is your round to just figure it out. Remind yourself why you came. Let's get it, y'all. Separate those feet out nice and wide. Remember, you have the option to stand up from the alternating lunge or to stay nice and low. Make sure that you keep the weight in your heels and your hips back in 3, 2, 1. Begin. All right, so we got that row here. Opposite leg is straight. Drop and switch. Row on the other side. Drop and switch. If it's easier for you to drop and switch at the center, I think that might be a little bit easier. Y'all, I just write these workouts. Just kidding. Okay, so make sure that that weight is in your heels. Your toes might even lift up slightly from the floor. Make sure you're doing your best to straighten out that opposite leg. Don't let those knees come past your toes. You know what? I liked it to the outside. Just kidding, I dropped that on my foot. Okay, awesome. Next up, we've got our squat to overhead press with that pull down. I'm gonna try it with a heavier weight. I'm gonna keep an eye on my form. I know that for round 2, I probably need to use a lighter weight. And begin. So we got that squat, overhead press, and then slowly lower down in front. Squat, squeeze glutes at the top, overhead press, slowly lower down. You're working those abs here too. While you're doing that slow lower, core contracted. Make sure those hips are going back in the squat. Knees are in line with toes. No overarching of the back. I stay forward. Just about 10 seconds left. You're doing awesome. Stick with it. If you need to slow down, if you need to go a different pace, that's fine. Staying nice and in control. You made it. Let's come on down to our knees. Grab the weight that works for you. You're gonna lighten it up just a little bit for these tricep extensions. 3, 2, bend those knees, belly in. So stretch back, straight arm, and then pull it back in. If you want to add a little extra challenge, you can even turn your hands, palms up as you reach out. Get a little bit more of that forearm involved in the work, but I really want you to make sure that you're squeezing and feeling it in the tricep. So you're either lifting your pinky finger as high as you can behind you, hanging out there for just a sec, or you're reaching all that inner hand knuckle up towards the ceiling. Keep that belly pulled in, shoulders from ears. Beautiful. Come on into our plank next. Plank with that alternating high step up. 4, 3, 2, 1. So starting your plank, hips are in line with the shoulder. Step that foot all the way forward. You can hang out there for a second, then back to your plank. Might be a lot easier to get one foot forward than the other. I want you to come up onto the ball of the foot that's stepping forward. So we're not putting the whole foot down. Really work to get that knee into your armpit, and then bring your hips back down at your in-between plank. Just over 10 seconds left. Remember, you can do this from your knees. There's a big step happening here. I know. 3, 2, good work. All right, we've got our weighted chest press, toe taps. So find that weight that works for you. Lay down on your back. Glue that lower back down towards the mat. As legs go up, weights go up. Legs go down, toes tap. Just those toes. Really press through the chest. Keep that weight right over your chest. You can press in whichever direction feels good for you. So either wide or narrow. Just make sure that lower back stays down to the mat. Pressing right above that chest. Almost there. Yay! All right, next up we have our chest fly in glute bridge. So you're gonna go ahead and lay down on your back. Getting creative with my space. Go, so keep lifted in that glute bridge if you can. Elbows can bend if your weights dictate that. If you need to, when your arms come back to the center, you can always lower down, reset. Find that big fly out to the side. If you don't happen to have any weights, you can still work on staying in this glute bridge and contracting your chest to slowly just bring those arms out and then right back in. Do your best to really press equally throughout your feet here. Heels right under the ball of the foot and the pinky. Yay! Superman in a T. So no weights for this one. Lay down on your belly. Give me a thumbs up. Squeeze your legs together. Bring your heels and toes to touch each other. Keep that belly button down, and we're just gonna lift and squeeze. A teeny little pulse up towards the ceiling with those thumbs. Like maybe an inch. Work to lift that chest. I stay down on the floor in front of you. If you need to take a second and lower yourself down and come back into this, great. Are you still squeezing those legs together? Still breathing. Can you squeeze your shoulder blades together and lift your chest a little bit more? Teeny little breaths here to stay lifted. Oh my gosh, we made it. All right, we got one last move, y'all. Gonna go ahead and lay down on your backs. You need to have room overhead for a big arm extension. You can use 1 or 2 weights. Arms begin all the way back behind you. Toes flex towards your face as you sit yourself up. Slowly and controlled lower down. Control, bring the weight overhead, tap it down. Control with your lift. So it's not about speed here. The slower you go. If you think about making it an even slower count, then you're really working to use your core to lift yourself and not the momentum of the weights. Your choice. 3, 2, 1. Awesome, round 1 is done. Good work. Okay, so grab yourself a sip of water. Ask yourself honestly, how hard did you work? Could you work a little bit harder? Could you pick up a heavier weight if you have it? If you can't pick up a heavier weight because you don't have it, is there a move that you're doing today that you can do a little bit faster in round 2? Keep in mind it's going to be a little bit longer, so challenging yourself a little bit more. I want you to feel like you have to stop. I want you to feel that way. I'm going to be a nice lady and we're going to keep that 15-second rest. I'm so nice. Because you're making a difference when you get to the point in the exercise where you're like, dear God, I hope that this is over soon. Everything up until that is just kind of the warm-up. It's a little bit of maintenance. It's awesome. Makes you feel good, still building those endorphins. But if you're really trying to improve yourself, to increase your endurance, to increase your strength, then you have to do better than you did yesterday. You are competing against yourself, and that's the only person you're competing with. I know some days it's hard. I know. And you know, it depends on so many things. How did you sleep? How did you eat? Did you sleep? Did you eat? Are you hydrated? Just making sure that when you find this time for exercise that you enjoy it as much as possible. You made this time, so everything else is gonna wait because we're gonna get it in. We have like 20 minutes left or some jazz. Yeah, all right, so let's go ahead. I'm ready for round 2. You ready? Y'all ready for this? Gosh, I miss music. All right, so we're coming back into our alternate side leg lunge with drop. If it was confusing for you, think about just using 2 weights and getting a double row. Please be careful. We all saw that I dropped that weight on my foot. It honestly feels great. Okay, so we start in 3. Do I have a heavier weight? I do. 2, 1, begin. Now you can make this more challenging in more than one way. Staying low, getting that elbow up a little bit higher in your row. Make sure that you're still working to keep those glutes back. Coming into that nice little squat at the center. Getting a little bit of rotation here in those obliques, especially if you're going for your row pass on the outside instead of the inside. We're more than halfway. Drive that elbow up high. You're worth it. Keep sending those glutes back too. Can you keep a nice flat back here? The more that you hinge forward also, the more challenging the row is going to be. 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Next up, we've got that squat overhead press. Now, if you found that your weight was a little bit too heavy for you, maybe just hold one weight in both hands. I'm gonna hold 2 weights. 3, begin. All right, so we got that big squat, overhead press, slowly lower down. I'm just gonna go for a little bit more narrow stance this time, adding in a bicep curl at the bottom as I squat down. Just an option. As you press through the heels, use that press to find your overhead press. And remember, if you're finding too much arching in your back, if you're having trouble with this front pull down, take it out. Just go from your overhead press right back down into your squat. I got you. Nice work, nice work. 15 seconds left. Hopefully you're feeling it a little bit more. Round 2, body's already warmed up, pushing yourself a little bit harder, maybe moving a little bit faster, staying in control. Yay! Finish that one out. All right, we've got our tricep extensions on the knees. So once again, the more that you hinge forward, the more challenging this extension is gonna feel. Begin. Let's add a double pulse. So 1, 2, in. Really working to lift that pinky up towards the ceiling. Keep that shoulders pulled down your back, squeezed towards each other in the shoulder blades. Keep that belly pulled in nice and tight. Your back is flat, eyes down towards the floor. Just past that halfway point, you've got this. Use your breath. Keep those shoulders away from your ears. Oh, so good. Using that exhale to find that extra squeeze at the back. 3, 2, 1. Good work. Put those weights down. Next up, we've got our plank, working that upper body a little bit more, getting a little more into the core. You're going to step that toe all the way up. Or remember, you can be right here in tabletop. 3, 2. So if you're here in tabletop, still just working to get the ball of the foot down, to get that knee close to your elbow. I'm sorry, armpit. I think I said elbow earlier today too. And if you got it, coming up onto those toes. Make sure as you come back to a plank that you shift your shoulders forward again and let those glutes contract, pulling your belly in to get them lower than your shoulders. But we're not coming into up dog, we're just being the most beautiful line that we can be. Which means coming back into pressing through your heels, squeezing your glutes, pulling that belly in, pressing into your hands, palms. Really just staying grounded, connected. 10 seconds left. Longest interval you have today. Yay. Oh, all right, we've got our weighted chest press. Gonna give you an option to work a little bit harder this time. You're gonna tap those toes down and then straighten them up. Really be pressing through your knuckles up to the ceiling on this press. Maybe you even feel your glutes gently lifting off of the mat a little, getting in a bit of a reverse crunch. Maybe your shoulders even start to lift off of the floor to get a little more ab work in right here. Just nice total body move, you're welcome. So close, keep it up. Keep pressing right over that chest. Oh, we made it. Next up is that Superman T, I believe. If you want to work a little bit harder, you can bring your arms out into a Y instead of a T. Sorry, we have the chest fly and glute bridge. 3, 2, begin. My bad, y'all. So find that big fly. Hands, palms staying in line with your chest. So remember, you can lower down at the top. Try to keep your knees in line with your hips, in line with your toes. You can take that bend to your elbow, oopsie doodles, especially if your weight is super heavy and dictates it. If your weight's really light, you might be able to keep that arm a little bit straighter. Come as close to the ground as you can today, still really squeezing into those heels, getting that glute work happening. Yes. We made it. I'm gonna give myself one extra because I was a little late. And then turn right over into your Superman. Remember, you can stick with that T or bring your hands a little bit forward into a Y. It's gonna be harder. Begin. We've got 1 full minute right here. So you gotta keep a little bit of air in your belly, teeny little breaths. Shoulders down away from your ears. Notice if they start creeping. If you need to lower yourself down for a second, lower yourself down and then come right back in. You're squeezing your glutes, you're stretching through your toes, working to bring those heels together and lift that chest. I'm gonna stop talking. Can you lift those hands a little higher? Can you lift your chest a little higher? Hold. Almost there. Oh, we made it, we made it. All right, last move of round 2. We've got that big lat pullover and a straight sit up. You can go at whatever speed works for you. Remember, slower is gonna be a little harder. I'm gonna use 2 weights this time. Begin. If you bring the weights together, makes it a little bit more controlled and easier. If you separate your hands, you're working even harder to find that control. If you just have one weight in your hands, that's similar to having the 2 hands together. Keep flexing your toes back towards your face. Make sure you're moving slow, especially on the lower down. You might need to use a little momentum on the way up, but control yourself as much as possible on the way down. You're more than halfway there. Finding the range of motion that works for you. 5 seconds left. Nice work. Awesome. Take a solid minute to yourself. Let's get some water in. And then we've got round 3. Remember, round 3 is going to be our fastest round. We've only got 30 seconds of work. So you're going to stay committed for the full 30 seconds. Even more committed than you've been the whole time. Maybe pushing yourself a hint faster, staying in control, but being honest with yourself and figuring out where your max is so you can really be there. All right, so let me change this timer while you're just actively recovering. Maybe you've got some awesome jams. If you're listening to music, let me know if I'm dancing in rhythm with the music that you're listening to. And I'm gonna decrease our rest time too. I'm gonna decrease our rest time to just 10 seconds. Still just 8 rounds though. Oh, it's gonna be so good. Yay, it's gonna give us some quality time to get a nice little stretch on when we're finished. So important to make sure that you find the time to incorporate stretching. Maybe even adding in some extra while you're sitting at your desk, even while you're cooking dinner. Ooh, finding some great big stretches to just help your body recover and feel better so you can come back, push yourself hard the next day. Okay, who's ready for your last round through of squat, overhead press, and then lower down? If you want to work even harder, if you got it in you, think about pressing up onto your toes. It's really going to challenge this pull down in the front. You're welcome. We start in 3, 2, 1, just 30 seconds of work. So you got squat, press, you can push up, control on the way down. Again, squat, press. Ooh, that does make it harder. Makes it harder. Ooh. Almost there. 3, 2, finish this one out. Beautiful. Next up, oh my God, I forgot. We have the alternating side leg lunges with the row. John's like, ah. Begin. Make sure you're still sending your hips towards the back of the room. Remember, you can do this on the inside arm. If it's a little bit easier for you, just working to get that elbow up nice and high. 3, 2, 1. Good work. Okay, now we're going to come into our triceps on our knees. This time, let's give it a triple pulse and then bring it back in. 30 seconds begins right now. 3, 2, 1. Flat back, belly tight, shoulders pulled away from ears. Keep checking in with your form. If you just keep scanning your body thinking, is my belly pulled in? Are my shoulders away from my ears? The time will fly by. Can you lift those pinkies a little higher towards the ceiling? 3, 2, 1. Great. Coming into our plank with our crow tap. Begin. Tap it up. Can you move a little bit faster this last round? Really working to press onto the toes and then back into your plank. It's a big stretch. Big stretch on that inner thigh. Almost there. Keep it up. Yay! I'm going to do one more opposite side. Beautiful. Next up, we have our weighted chest press. Begin. Oh my gosh. Oh no, these are heavy. All right, if you want to work even harder, straight legs go down, straight arms come up. Or you could still be doing our first move, just the chest press, bent knee toe tap. Second move, tapping the knee down, straightening the legs. I'm gonna get one more in because I was late. Awesome. Next step, I believe, we have our chest flying glute bridge. Begin. Glute bridge up. Taking that, bending your elbows if you need to. You can release your hips down at the center. Work to control on the way up and down. If your weight is really heavy, you might not get a lot of reps in as you're really working in control. If your weight's really light, it might be easier for you to get more reps in. Working with what you got. Nice. Go ahead. Roll over. Coming into our Superman. If you want to work the hardest, this time arms straight in front of you. Begin. Keeping the tops of the feet flat down on the floor. Heels, toes touching each other. Glutes are squeezed. Thighs are squeezed towards each other. Halfway, halfway. Find that little pulse. Can you bring your arms up a little higher? Final 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Lower down. You're amazing. Turn over onto your back. One last time through with that lat pullover. Begin right now. Tap that weight behind you. Sit yourself up. Keeping those toes flexed towards your face, lowering down one vertebrae at a time. So again, depending on how heavy your weight is, can slow you down. But the slower you go, the more you're going to actually use your core. So even if you have no weights, you can think about a 6 to 8 second lift and a really slow lower down. Great news. We made it. Put your weights down. Grab another sip of water if you want to. Let's stay right down here on the floor. Oh my gosh, we have so much good time for a great cool down. All right, once you grab that water, go ahead, come on back down on the floor. Let's come into a separate leg straddle. And once again, flex those toes back towards your face. Hey, remember when we did that ab work a couple weeks ago? We're gonna do a really deep ab move here to finish. All right, so you can bring that weight forward. You can even lean a little bit towards the opposite side. Point your toes. And we're gonna lift one leg up, just work to get that heel off of the floor. See if you can keep your chest open and your shoulder blades engaged. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. On my quad, shake it out, shake it out. Oh, let me move back so you can see me a little bit better and see that I'm barely getting my legs off the floor. Don't worry if you're like, what's even happening? So just pointing those toes, keeping chest open, pulling belly in, find that little lift. 10, 9, 8, oh my God. This leg, 7, 6, 5, 4, I'll switch to the other. 3, 2, 1. Know that I owe myself some on my left. Wow! And then let's go ahead, bring the soles of our feet together. Take a moment right here in butterfly. You can walk those glutes out just a little bit to find that nice flat back. You can even press your elbows in towards your thighs. Find the forward hinge that feels right for you, and if that forward hinge does not feel right for you, you can always keep your hands behind your back. That can sometimes make it easier to help apply a little bit of a squeeze to bring the outside of your knee down to the floor. Change. Let's go ahead and extend our right leg out. Keep your left leg where it is. Stay squared towards that left leg, and once again, hinge forward. The more you flex your toes towards your face, the more stretch you're going to feel in the back of your legs. If you're having a lot of pain in that leg though, or in your lower back, taking a slight bend of your knee can still help you hinge forward here. And switch, lift yourself up, extend left leg out, fold your right leg in, stretch up through the chest, pull your belly in, hinge forward. That's what's going to help keep our backs feeling good, making sure that we find that length first before you find any sort of forward fold, making sure that your core is contracted, that your belly is pulled in to find some support for that lower back as well. And if you know that you're really flexible, once you've already found this forward hold, you can always use another inhale and then exhale to come a little bit more forward, just feeling supported. Change. All right, so this time we're going to draw our right leg in. We're going to bring our, left leg in. We're going to bring our right leg behind us. Let's just come into a little deer pose, actually. We'll be easy. Won't have to move too much. So the best that you can, work to use your exhale to release that right glute back down towards the floor, creating a big stretch in the right hip. Feel any pain in that knee, I want you to just gently bring a little bit more pressure to that left leg though. And switch, just lift them up and drop them over to the opposite side. Use your breath to exhale and bring that left glute to the floor. Just getting some 90-90 in our legs to get that big stretch on the outer glutes. Feels so good. Awesome. Change. Come on over into your hands, palms. Let's give ourselves a couple cat-cows. Ooh, so tuck your chin to your chest. Take a deep inhale. We're going to move on the exhale all the way into cow. Make sure you're still applying pressure with your hands, palms on the floor. Your arms are straight. Just keep moving on your exhale. So finding that big inhale, staying here in the stretch. One more time in each direction. And then come on into a nice neutral tabletop. All right, from right here in neutral tabletop, you're going to extend your right leg back. Inhale, lift it up, cross it over the left side, and then look over your left shoulder. You can even work to squeeze your left lower rib towards your left hip, or even push your right hip out just a little bit. And change back to center. Then use your inhale, lift your leg, bring it back down and in. Extend your left leg out. Inhale, lift it up and over. And then look over that right shoulder. Take one more big breath here. Use your exhale to turn back to center. Use your inhale to lift that leg up and bring it back in. Go ahead, send your hips back towards your heels. Walk your hands out. Get a nice stretch in your shoulders. Ooh. Walking those hands, palms as far forward as feels good for you today. If that feels like too much on your shoulders, you can still get a nice stretch by bringing your hands all the way back down towards your heels and then allowing those shoulder blades to separate, allowing the tips of your shoulders to come closer towards your mat. Just do whatever honors your body today. Take a couple more breaths right here. If you walked your hands back, bring them back forward. We're going to pull ourselves through, coming into an up dog or upright cobra, one of those things. I don't know, work to press your pubic mound down towards the floor, really press into your hands, palms. Find one more big stretch of your belly. You can squeeze your glutes. Then go ahead, tuck your toes under, send your hips up, walk your feet or hands towards each other, whatever feels good for you. Once they come close, go ahead, bend your knees. Take a moment supported in this forward fold. If you can't get your hands all the way down towards the floor, you can always bend your knees a little bit more. Or just grab hold of your opposite elbow. Take a moment, shake your head, no. Shake your head, yes. Bring more of a bend towards your knees and then slowly roll yourself up. One vertebrae at a time. Take a big inhale at the top, stretch up. Exhale, relax your arms down by your side. One more time, bend those knees deep. Inhale, lift up. Go ahead, bend your left elbow as your right finger stretch up like you're pulling a bow and arrow. Bend your right elbow. Oh, it feels good. Bend your left elbow once more. Bringing it towards your hip. Bend your right elbow once more. Stretch both up towards the ceiling. Reach up, touch it, pull your belly in. And last time, rain your fingertips down to the side. Awesome, y'all. That's all the time we have for today's HIIT circuit. I hope you had a great time. I am thinking about making next week's circuit a little cardio kickboxing inspired HIIT. So get ready to get those heart rates bumping and maybe bring some of your lighter weights for next week. Thanks, y'all. If you have any questions or concerns, reach out. See you again soon. Think about signing up for our New Year's resolution challenge also.